Okay, so I'm going to show you a lesson from one of my math books that we recently have done. It was 8.5 and it was multiplying two fractions. So with this being said, I don't even look at this book unless I truly need to look at this side on this page. I used to do these pages. So I used to do this page, I used to do this page, and usually they have their independent work. But I came to realize that it wasn't giving my students the necessary lesson that they need, if that makes it wasn't giving them like the full benefits of what I was trying to teach them. So as I got into my teaching career and as I kept teaching out of this book, I came to realize that this was a waste of our time, and so was this extra page. Even though this stuff would help them break it down and give them more visuals, I just went straight to the point. So I don't use this page anymore. And I don't use this page anymore. I do use the independent practices. For example, this page has a bunch of examples for them to work out, which is awesome, and I love that. But then I have other lessons that have maybe 5 problems. So those lessons that only have 5 problems on, I will give them an IXL code so they actually get that repetition and that practice that they need. Most of the time, depending on the word problem, but I usually always do the assessment practice checkpoint too, to see what they do know too, because that one's really, I feel like it's important too. And then what I actually use is these pages over here. So this page right here is we teach to build understanding. This page is to build math literacy. This one's just for an enrichment. And then there's actually an additional practice that's similar to our assignment, and that is what I use. So I will go through, and before I teach a lesson, or if I know what I'm teaching, I'll go through and see what the examples are on here, because most likely that is what they need to know, not all those other pages. So for example, when they would come in after recess, they either get out their whiteboard and markers, and they get out a paper or pencil if they don't have the whiteboard or marker. And then I would write a problem on the board. So the first problem right here is 7/8. So with that being said, I would write just 7/8 on the board. So I'll be like, hey, 7/8 times 2/3. From what we have learned, can you please solve this? And then I would give them a chance to solve it, and I just kind of test their knowledge to see what they kind of know. Once they solve it, we will break it down. So then usually if I know a couple of my students that got it right, I would have them walk me through it. So this one was a pretty easy lesson. They knew that when we multiply a fraction by a fraction, we just multiply straight across. So with that being said, I would ask them, okay, then what's 2 times 7, which was 14? And then what's 8 times 3, which is 24? So most of the time, most 5th graders would stop at 1424, but I push my 5th graders to not leave them like that. I make them simplify. So then I would ask my students, do we simplify this? Or am I done with this question? And the response should be no, because you can still divide 14 and 24. So they would tell me, no, it's not done, Miss Leeds. We still have to simplify. I'm like, yes, perfect. What number can we simplify 14 and 24 by? And their response should be by the number of 2. So we can divide 14 by 2, and we can divide 24 by 2. So with that being said, 14 divided by 2 is 7. And 24 divided by 2 is 12. Then I would ask my students again, because sometimes you can simplify an answer more than once. So I would just say, can we simplify 7/12? The response should be no, because the fact that 7 and 12 does not have a common multiple to divide it by. When I teach these lessons, depending on the content that's at hand and what is being taught, most of the time my lessons can take to 15 to 30 minutes. It really just depends on what they're picking up and what I'm seeing. So if I'm seeing the majority of my class getting the wrong answers, we will continue practicing together until I see majority of them getting the right answers. So that's kind of how I do my teaching out of these books. I do like the program itself, and I like Envision. I think it's a really good program, actually. I just don't use a lot of those pages just because it does not have enough enrichment or enough learning experience that my students need. So I just go straight to the point, and we just do problems together. And then they go on and do independent practice.